Hi, I'm Mike with the Google Maps platform team. And here at Google, we really care about organizing the world's information and making it more accessible. Today, I'm speaking with someone whose startup embodies this. This is my friend and all-around great person, Maayan Ziv, who's the CEO and founder of AccessNow. Maayan, can you tell us more about AccessNow and how the platform works and just who it's for?
Hi, Mike. Nice to see you. I am super excited to have this conversation. I started my company because I am a wheelchair user and navigating the world has always been frustrating for me. There are so many places that are not accessible. I have traveled to amazing places and I show up and I'm so excited. And then I get to my hotel and there's, 5 steps to the entrance. And pretty much every time I leave my house, I'm experiencing some type of barrier or question mark. And so that's really what motivated me to launch Access Now, which in short, we are providing really great information about the accessibility of spaces. It allows people to search for, rate, and discover, parks, stores, hotels, restaurants, you name it. And the whole thing is really powered by people with disabilities, friends, families, allies who are contributing to the platform and really creating awareness about why accessibility matters and for who.
Super interesting to hear kind of where the inspiration came from and how personal it is, really. How did you hear about the Google for Startups Accelerator initially?
So I had heard about the accelerator program actually through a colleague here in Toronto, where I'm based, and was really excited to initially apply for the program just because it made so much sense. I have built my company using Google technologies, and this was an opportunity now to engage directly with Google and get a bit smarter and learn a little bit more.
Just curious what stood out with Google for Startups Accelerator. How did it stand out from other programs you might have looked at, and just curious why it was a good fit for your needs?
Well, I think, I've been through a lot of different programs and different accelerators. I think really for me, what was super exciting, what was really exciting for me, obviously, is that um, we as a company use Google technology to build a lot of value on Access Now. And so I was really excited, not only just to have a chance to engage with folks who work at Google, but also, this was a moment where we were starting to investigate how could we leverage AI to start to advance our techniques around sharing information about the accessibility of spaces. So the specific accelerator program that I went through had a specific focus on AI, and it was just kind of a perfect fit between the Google-ness of it and some new advances that at the specific time we were just starting our journey in.
I wonder if you could talk a little bit about just the hybrid format versus being in person. Were there any specific benefits you could think of?
Actually, going through this accelerator program was the first time where my disability or like using a wheelchair didn't, it wasn't even a question. It wasn't even part of the conversation unless I wanted it to be. And that's the first time that that's ever happened, actually. Joining virtually gave me a very unique, different level of inclusion than I've ever experienced.
That's great. So good to hear. Back to the accelerator program itself. You and I have connected through this program, and we'll dive into a little bit more about what that mentorship has looked like between the two of us. But just start by talking a little bit about the mentorship that we've set up and working through the program.
I went into the accelerator program with a pretty clear goal that I wanted to learn more about how Google Maps is looking at accessibility. And so I thought, well, I gotta be able to reach some people inside and just ask some questions about the future, or maybe share some of my ideas. And so I had asked one of my mentors through the program if they could connect me with anyone within Maps who could share any information or would just be someone that I could just start a conversation with. And that led to you.
Yeah, it was a string of coincidences, I think, from that point forward, because it was really that simple. It was the people you were in touch with within the program connecting with someone on the Maps team. And I remember our first call together. Um, you know, I don't think any of them knew the things that we had in common. Um, you're Canadian. I'm from Canada, although I live in the U.S. I had some background working with kids with disabilities back, in my high school, college days. Lo and behold, you're introduced to me, and you're sitting in Toronto, running this amazing company, doing so many different things that I'm personally really interested in. And I think just what struck me initially with Access Now was just the approach that you were taking to it was very similar to how Google approaches problems. So I think it was a lot of different things, all the way down to music and photography and personal things too. So it's been great to get to know you through this whole process and provide some of that mentorship and help from the Google side. So it's been great to get connected to you. So
Well, likewise, Mike. It's been amazing to get to know you and learn about your relationship to disability and accessibility in general.
and on the Google side too, what's really interesting is really the focus that the Google Maps platform team is starting to expand. Accessibility can mean a lot of different things to people. At Google, number one, if you look at our mission statement, it's sort of relevant in that we aim to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. In a lot of ways, that's accessibility of products on devices that people consume. So people with low vision or visual impairment in some way, we aim to make those products useful for those individuals, but also making information about places accessible and helping people get to those places, learn about them before they go. We're really, really excited to make that information available, not just to people using Google Maps, but also developers such as AccessNow and others that are going to be able to integrate that information into the products that they're building. So I'm just curious how the use of Google Maps platform has looked on the AccessNow side as you've built your product.
When we look at how all these other solutions have been built in tech, leveraging data to build new value uh, is really what Access Now is focused on. And the ability to leverage data from Google and increasingly new accessibility data helps us advance our mission so much because it takes us from trying to do it all to just focusing on engaging people and empowering them now to do more.
It's really interesting how you've taken this approach of focusing on the end user, which is something very synonymous with how Google approaches its product development. Working for people with disabilities, but also with them, with the community to build the product. That was something that really impressed me, and using very modern computing techniques to do that, like AI and training models to learn from data and predict. That blows me away. It's something that not just in the area of accessibility or solving problems for people with disabilities, but just in general. That's a very advanced approach, and it was just excited to be able to work with you and provide some of that guidance and see how we can help with that. It's been really great.
First of all, thank you, Mike. That's like amazing to hear. And I can tell you like that need and that persistence to really drive forward with some advanced technologies and to do it at scale. Of course, I'm totally inspired by how Google has done that. And I've looked at, my life and the world of disability, and I haven't seen those innovations and that advancement, and I've wanted it. Mostly just because I'm impatient, because I want to travel the world and I want to see, everything open up and be accessible for me and for every other person who has a question about whether or not a space is going to be welcoming and inclusive to them. We've seen technology disrupt so many industries. And I really feel like now is the time where we can finally say that we're making those strides within the accessibility space as well. And that's a huge game changer. I think we're going to see some tremendous innovations moving forward.
I'm curious from your perspective, what you see the future of accessibility with AccessNow and everything that you're building, and Google Maps platform.
I think one of the most unique things about what it is that we do at Access Now, and you kind of touched on this earlier, is that we are building everything with, for, and by the disability community. And that includes, not just people who identify as having a disability, but that includes friends and families and allies and even parents with strollers and anyone who who says, I have a question about accessibility and I recognize the need. And that trust and that inherent user-centric kind of commitment that we have to do everything inclusively from the start is really, I think, what the next generation of solutioning looks like.
Absolutely. I think when you talk about every person, I think there's just so much benefit to trying to solve this problem for a specific group of people, and the benefits that it can have. I mean, you mentioned individuals with people with strollers or parents and whatnot. I think there's just so many. The ripple effects of it are so positive. I think what I'm excited about going forward too is just we're trying to address the problem of getting this information into more people's hands. Consumers using Google Maps in all of its different ways, making sure that accessibility information is front and center, that they can get access to it, that they know that it exists, and they can look at it, and they can also tell us if it's accurate and if it needs to be updated or if it's not there at all, and they have that information to be able to provide it to us. And we're excited to be able to also syndicate a lot of that information via our APIs for you. And I'm just excited for that kind of reciprocal connection that we can have where, we can provide it to you, and hopefully the information that Access Now is collecting can surface itself for millions of users as well around the world. So, well, Maayan, I'm really glad that you learned about the Google for Startups Accelerator program in Canada, that you applied for the program, that you had Maps questions, and that we were connected via that, and just the mentorship and friendship that we've struck up. So, really wish you all the best with Access Now, and I'm really looking forward to supporting you and helping you in the journey.
Thank you, Mike. It's been a pleasure getting to know you and to work with you and your team. We're so excited about what's next, and yeah, we're just here for the ride.